Stanford University, fall of 1982. Under the steady beam of a microscope, a cell biologist made a discovery that would upend conventional wisdom. His name was Bruce Lipton. What he observed was nothing short of extraordinary. Stem cells shifting their fate without any alteration to their DNA, responding as if to some unseen signal. In that instant, everything changed. DNA isn't the boss. It's more like an instrument waiting to be played. For years, Bruce kept this revelation close. He uncovered that our genes don't command us. Rather, they respond to our beliefs. Every thought sends out a biological message, and astonishingly, our subconscious mind controls about 95% of our cellular life, almost like an ancient code. Yet, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Cells act like quantum antennas, tuned to invisible frequencies. For decades, these ideas remained hidden from mainstream science. What you're about to read isn't dry theory. It's a breakthrough in biology, a first-hand account from the scientist who proved we are not prisoners of our DNA, but active conductors of our genetic orchestra. If you stay with this story until the end, you'll uncover a genetic awakening, the keys to unlocking the latent power within every cell. This isn't just a book, it's a call to action. Your cells are waiting for your command. Are you ready to lead them? The biology of belief shows that each thought is a prayer your body hears and obeys. Here's what I discovered during a quiet pre-dawn at Stanford in 1982. While observing stem cells under my microscope, I had a revelation that didn't just redefine my career. It reshaped my understanding of life itself. I divided genetically identical stem cells into 3 groups. One batch went into a medium that encouraged muscle growth, another into a medium favoring bone development, and the last into a medium that promoted fat cells. What unfolded before me contradicted everything I'd learned about genetics. The very same cells, sharing identical DNA, became muscle, bone, or fat, based solely on their environment. It wasn't their genetic code that dictated their fate. It was their surroundings. As dawn's first light crept through the lab window, I realized a truth science had overlooked for decades. Genes do not govern our biology. It's our perceptions of the environment that do. But the insight went deeper still. If cells react to their external environment, and our bodies consist of 50 trillion such cells, then our thoughts and beliefs, our internal environment, are continuously rewriting our biology. Years later, I treated a patient named Sarah. She carried a genetic risk for breast cancer, a shadow that haunted her family for generations. Doctors warned her she had an 87% chance of developing the disease. Fear ruled her life, and she obsessively scanned her body for signs of illness her genes seemed to decree. I shared what I'd learned. Having a gene doesn't mean it will express itself. Her beliefs about an inevitable disease were creating the exact biochemical conditions to trigger her worst fears. Together, over 6 months, we rewired her mindset, transforming limiting beliefs and fostering new views of her own power. Sarah began to see herself not as a victim of genetics, but as the conscious architect of her biological destiny. When she came back for follow-ups, something remarkable had happened. The markers indicating her genetic risk had shifted. Her doctor was puzzled, suggesting the tests might have been faulty. But Sarah and I knew the truth. She had consciously reprogrammed her biology. Do you understand what this means for you? Every belief you hold about your health, your potential, your worth, sends chemical messages to your cells. If you believe you're fragile, your body weakens. If you believe you're strong, your biology fortifies. If you believe love is real, your heart opens and releases healing hormones. If you believe suffering is your fate, your nervous system braces for battle. The biology of belief isn't metaphor. It's quantum science playing out inside you. Years of research show that positive beliefs activate genes that promote healing and growth, while negative beliefs turn on genes wired for protection and survival. Living in defense mode weakens your immune system, dulls creativity, and limits connection. But embracing empowering beliefs, honoring your innate power, does something extraordinary. Your body recalls its original blueprint of perfect health and unconditional love. Imagine every cell in your body as a tiny radio, always tuning into the frequency of your thoughts and feelings. When you shift your mental dial from fear to love, from limitation to possibility, from victim to creator, you change the soundtrack of your biology. DNA isn't destiny. It's a library of potential stories, waiting for you to decide which one to live. Tonight, before you drift off to sleep, whisper a new truth to your body. Tell it you are strong, you are loved, and you are capable of healing and transformation. Watch as your biology begins to dance to the rhythm of your new song, because your body has been waiting for you to realize that you are the composer of your own cellular symphony. Chapter 2. Unlocking the Subconscious Mind. The foundation of who you are was laid down in the first 7 years of your life. I've held on to a secret for decades, one that explains why so many of us feel trapped by unseen forces that undermine our best efforts. This is the story of the most powerful system inside you, your subconscious mind. Picture your conscious mind as the captain of a ship, confidently giving commands from the bridge. But here's the catch most people miss. The subconscious is the entire crew below deck, quietly managing the engines, steering the ship through rough waters, and keeping it afloat. No matter how loudly the captain shouts orders, if the crew is following a different map, the ship will sail that course. During years of research, I uncovered something that forever shifted my view of human nature. From birth until around age 7, our brains function predominantly in theta waves, the same brainwave pattern adults experience in deep hypnosis. In those early years, we're like sponges, absorbing every word, feeling, and behavior around us without question or judgment. Let me share an experiment that changed everything for me. I observed a 5-year-old boy whose mother repeatedly said, "You're so clumsy. You always break things." Over weeks, I tracked how the boy started stumbling more, spilling drinks, and breaking objects. His nervous system had taken in that message, and his body acted it out flawlessly. Years later, that boy, now grown, came to me frustrated. He couldn't hold down a steady job. Mistakes followed him. Important tools were damaged, and presentations fell apart. His conscious mind yearned for success, but his subconscious was still running the decades-old script. I'm clumsy. I break things. Can you grasp how huge this is? 95% of your daily life is driven by subconscious programs installed before you even turned 7. Programs you don't consciously remember, created by the voices and experiences of your earliest childhood. I remember my own breakthrough clearly. For years, I struggled with self-sabotage around money. Just as I started to do well financially, something inside would pull me back. On the surface, I wanted abundance, but beneath, my subconscious was on a different page. One day, during a hypnosis session, a memory surfaced. I was 4 years old, overhearing my parents arguing about finances. My dad, distraught, said, "Money is the root of all evil. Good people don't need much of it." My child's brain, in that theta state, recorded that belief as gospel. For decades, my subconscious protected my goodness by keeping me away from the evil of money. My conscious mind fought for success, but my subconscious quietly undermined me to maintain that identity. Here's the powerful takeaway. Once you understand how this system works, you can change it. The subconscious doesn't know what's real or imagined. It has no sense of time. Past, present, and future blend together. That means you can install new programs using the same tools that created the old ones. Repetition, emotion, and altered states of consciousness. Through my research, I developed a daily practice. Every morning, for 20 minutes, I'd listen to strong affirmations through headphones while my brain naturally cycled through theta waves just after waking. I didn't just hear the words. I felt them deeply, visualized them, and emotionally lived them. I am worthy of wealth and success, I'd say. Money flows to me because I use my talents to help others. Over months, these new beliefs rewrote the old files that had controlled my financial life. The changes were remarkable. Opportunities I never saw before appeared. Choices that once paralyzed me became clear. My body stopped fighting me because my conscious and subconscious minds finally worked as one. But here's the most profound discovery. This process doesn't just alter behavior, it transforms your biology. When your subconscious beliefs align with your conscious goals, your nervous system relaxes, your immune system strengthens, and your brain chemistry shifts to support happiness and success. Every cell in your body listens to the dialogue between your conscious and subconscious. Conflict causes stress. Harmony brings health and vitality. Over the years, I've documented incredible transformations. People curing incurable illnesses by changing subconscious beliefs about their worthiness of health. Families breaking cycles of poverty by adopting new abundance mindsets. Couples healing toxic bonds by reshaping early childhood beliefs about love and trust. The most powerful technique I call conscious theta programming. Each night before sleep, when your brain naturally enters theta waves, you whisper to your subconscious the truths you want to live by. Say them with feeling and certainty, as if they're already true. My body knows how to heal. I am deserving of unconditional love. I have the power to create the life I desire. Don't just say the words. Let them resonate in every cell, night after night. You overwrite decades of limiting beliefs with the truth of your divine power. Remember, your subconscious isn't your adversary. It's your most faithful servant, carrying out whatever program you give it. Learn to speak its language through repetition, feeling, and altered states, and it becomes your greatest ally. Tonight, as your head hits the pillow, honor the sacred power sleeping inside your subconscious. Whisper your new truths, because after years of running old programs, it's time to consciously write the code of your soul. Chapter 3. The Sacred Science of Epigenetics. Think of your genes as the musical score and your thoughts and emotions as the conductor leading the orchestra. What I'm about to share will challenge everything you've been taught about genetics and your biological fate. It's a powerful insight. Once grasped, you'll never again see yourself as a helpless product of your DNA. For decades, the idea of genetic determinism ruled us. We believed we were trapped by our DNA, that if diabetes ran in the family, it was our fate too, that inherited cancer was a sentence beyond escape. This belief robbed us of control over our lives. Then, in 1990, while studying cells in my lab, I witnessed something astonishing. I observed how cells turn genes on or off depending entirely on their environment. The same genes would activate or remain silent based on external signals. In that quiet, defining moment, I realized biology had been misunderstood. Life doesn't follow genes. Genes respond to life. Let me tell you about Elena. She came to me weighed down by a family legacy of Alzheimer's. Her grandmother had died from it. Her mother was already showing early signs. Genetic testing confirmed Elena carried the risk variants. With tears in her eyes, she asked, "The doctors say it's just a matter of time. Should I just wait for my genes to do their damage?" I shared a secret medicine still hesitates to embrace. Having a gene doesn't guarantee it will express. Your DNA is more like a vast library, and your lifestyle, emotions, and environment decide which books you open. Elena had Alzheimer's genes. Yes, but she also had a powerful tool, the wisdom of epigenetics. Over the following months, we didn't just change her diet and habits. We reshaped her inner emotional world. I showed her how every thought and feeling sends chemical signals to her genes, switching some on, silencing others. We incorporated foods known to activate genes that support brain health. We introduced meditation to stimulate neuroplasticity. Most crucially, we transformed her beliefs, because I'd learned that living in fear of Alzheimer's was creating exactly the biological conditions that could trigger those genes. My research has shown that chronic fear, anxiety, and despair ignite genes linked to inflammation and degeneration, while love, gratitude, and hope awaken genes that promote healing and regeneration. Elena came to see her genes not as a death sentence, but as possibilities waiting for the right signals. Every morning she woke not with dread, but with gratitude for the present, and a clear vision of health ahead. After 2 years, her cognitive tests showed no decline. In fact, her markers for brain health had improved. Her blood work revealed active neuroplasticity genes and silenced inflammatory ones. Her doctor was baffled, wondering if the genetic test results were wrong. But Elena and I knew the truth. She was consciously conducting her gene expression symphony. Do you see what this means? Every moment, you're the conductor of 50 trillion cellular musicians. If you lead with fear, you compose a symphony of illness and survival. Lead with love, and you create a melody of vitality and healing. Decades of study have revealed 3 core epigenetic mechanisms: DNA methylation, which attaches chemical tags to genes acting like on-off switches; histone modification, which alters DNA packaging and gene accessibility; and microRNAs, tiny messengers that regulate gene activity. What's incredible is that all these mechanisms respond directly to your emotions, thoughts, and life choices. Chronic stress silences repair genes and activates inflammatory ones. Emotional balance and peace reverse these effects. Another story that shaped my understanding is Marcus. At 25, he inherited a family history of severe depression. His grandparents, parents, siblings, all had battled it. But Marcus took a different path. He embraced epigenetics, refusing to accept his genetic fate. He became the conscious architect of his gene expression. Every morning he practiced gratitude, feeling it deeply in every cell. He visualized himself filled with joy and resilience, not just thinking positive thoughts, but programming his biology. He understood his nervous system couldn't tell the difference between reality and vivid imagination. So he created internal experiences of happiness that instructed his genes to express health and well-being. The results? Measurable changes. Higher blood levels of neurotrophic factors promoting new neuron growth. EEG patterns showing increased activity in brain regions tied to happiness. Most importantly, he avoided the depressive episodes that plagued his family line. Marcus didn't alter his DNA sequence, but he profoundly changed how it expressed itself. This is the sacred truth of epigenetics. Your genetic history is not your destiny. Each elevated thought, each loving feeling, every compassionate act rewrites your biology software, activating dormant divine genes passed down for generations. My research uncovered something even more remarkable. These epigenetic changes don't just affect you, they ripple into future generations. By transforming your gene expression, you heal not only your life, but create a legacy of health for those who come after. Every time you choose love over fear, gratitude over complaint, hope over despair, you send molecular signals that turn on uplifting genes and silence limiting ones. You become a participant in humanity's conscious evolution. Tonight, before sleep, place your hand on your heart and whisper this truth to your 50 trillion cells. I activate genes of perfect health, unconditional love, and infinite abundance. I am the conscious conductor of my genetic symphony, because my genes have been waiting for me to remember that I am the creator, not the prisoner, of my biological destiny. Chapter 4. Cells as quantum antennas. Every single cell in your body acts like a cosmic receiver, finely tuned to the frequency of your deepest self. After 3 decades of research, I've held a secret that will completely shift how you understand cellular life. What I'm about to share challenges the very foundation of conventional biology's view of how cells operate. For years, we've been told that the nucleus, the cell's core, was the command center controlling everything. This was a convenient story, but it kept us from seeing the true power within us. Because once you uncover what truly governs cellular life, you realize you possess a power that's almost divine. My awakening happened during a simple experiment back in 1985. I was studying muscle cells when I tried something unheard of. I removed the nuclei entirely from living cells to see what would happen. According to everything I'd learned, these cells should have died immediately. After all, the nucleus holds the DNA, the supposed director of the cell. But what I saw left me stunned. Without their nuclei, the cells lived, moved, responded to stimuli, and even repaired themselves for weeks. It was like discovering that removing someone's brain wouldn't stop them from walking, thinking, and interacting. In that quiet lab moment, I grasped a revolutionary truth. The nucleus isn't the cell's boss. The cell membrane is. But there was something even more incredible. Under an electron microscope, the membrane revealed itself not just as a protective shell, but as a highly sophisticated quantum antenna, capable of picking up and processing environmental information with a precision that rivals our most advanced technologies. Let me introduce you to Rebecca, a patient who came to me worn down by years of unexplained chronic fatigue. Doctors had checked every organ, every system. Everything appeared fine. Yet she was bedridden, drained most days. In our first session, I explained something that would change her life. Her 50 trillion cells were acting like radio antennas, tuned not to vitality and energy, but to a frequency of survival and exhaustion. Rebecca, I told her, imagine your cells as highly advanced radios. Right now, they're all locked onto a station broadcasting fatigue, fear, and limitation. But you can switch the channel. I explained how the cell membrane is loaded with thousands of protein receptors that act like tiny antennas, continuously capturing signals from the environment. These signals aren't just chemical. They're electromagnetic, vibrational, even quantum. When you live with love, gratitude, and joy, you broadcast a frequency your cell membranes interpret as a call to grow and thrive. When you live in fear, anxiety, and despair, you send a signal that triggers survival mode, draining your energy. For 6 months, Rebecca practiced becoming a conscious radio station. Each morning, instead of waking up worried about her exhaustion, she focused on radiating gratitude for the energy she was inviting in. She developed a cellular tuning ritual. 20 minutes a day, visualizing golden light flowing through every cell. This wasn't passive daydreaming. It was active quantum communication, telling her cell membranes to tune into vitality and life. The results? Remarkable. Her energy slowly returned. Blood tests showed significant improvements in markers of cellular health. But most strikingly, Rebecca learned to sense when her cells were off frequency and could consciously bring them back into harmony. She'd uncovered what conventional medicine often overlooks. We're electromagnetic beings in a vibrational universe, and our cells are exquisitely designed antennas, ready to receive whatever frequencies we choose to send. Through my research, I found that different emotions create specific electromagnetic fields that cell membranes decode into biological instructions. Love generates signals that turn on growth and repair proteins. Fear triggers signals that activate inflammation and survival pathways. Even more astonishing, cell membranes don't just receive, they broadcast. Each cell sends messages to its neighbors. When one tunes to love, it spreads that frequency. When one tunes to fear, it infects the rest. This means you can flood your body with healing energy or poison it with toxic vibrations. The choice is yours. Another unforgettable case was James, a 45-year-old executive with severe hypertension that no medication could control. Doctors were baffled. His physical health seemed normal. But when I looked deeper, I found he was living in constant work stress, radiating anxiety frequencies that his heart and blood vessels read as threats. His cells were stuck in emergency mode. I taught him a technique I call the quantum reset. Every hour, for 2 minutes, he placed his hand on his heart and consciously radiated peace and safety, visualizing his cardiovascular cells receiving this calming signal. Within 3 months, his blood pressure normalized completely, without changing diet, exercise, or meds. He had simply learned to send the frequencies his cells needed. What James discovered is true for all of us. Every thought, emotion, and intention generates an electromagnetic field. Your cell membranes, perfect quantum antennas, pick up these signals and translate them into biological responses. Over years, I've seen that the healthiest people intuitively or consciously radiate coherent frequencies of love, gratitude, and purpose. Their cells are in constant harmony, ready to grow and heal. Those suffering chronic, unexplained illnesses often unknowingly broadcast emotional chaos, signaling their cells to malfunction. The deepest truth? You aren't a victim of your environment's signals. You're the main transmitter. Your cells listen first to you, tuned to the frequency of your heart and mind. Tonight, before you fall asleep, place your hands on your body and feel the presence of 50 trillion perfect quantum antennas beneath your palms. Send them waves of love, gratitude, and vitality. Watch as your cells receive the message and respond with healing, because they've been waiting for you to remember. You are both the transmitter and receiver in the quantum orchestra of your life. Chapter 5. The energetic field of heart and mind. When your heart and mind move in sync, your whole body feels the lift. During my research years at Stanford, I uncovered something modern science has largely missed. The heart is far more than just a muscular pump. It's actually the most powerful electromagnetic organ in the body, generating a field about 60 times stronger than the brain's. What I'm about to share will shift your entire perspective on healing and conscious creation. Because when you learn to harmonize your heart and mind, you tap into a force that goes beyond ordinary biology. My breakthrough came through collaboration with the HeartMath Institute in California. As we measured the heart's electromagnetic signals, we saw something amazing. When people experienced elevated feelings like gratitude, compassion, or love. Their heart rhythms became mathematically coherent, creating smooth, sinusoidal waves. Even more astonishing, this cardiac coherence instantly aligned brain waves, optimized the autonomic nervous system, and sent out harmonizing signals to every cell in the body. Let me tell you about Maria, a 52-year-old woman who came to me after surviving her second heart attack. Cardiologists warned her she had severe heart damage and would need medication for life. Her family braced for the worst. When I connected Maria to a heart rate variability monitor during our first session, her readings reflected her inner state: chaotic, irregular waves signaling a heart out of sync. "Maria," I gently explained, "your heart isn't just physically compromised. It's electromagnetically out of tune. But I want to show you something." I taught her a simple but profound technique, placing her hand over her heart, closing her eyes, and breathing rhythmically. In for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds. This was no ordinary breath. It was a conscious connection with her heart. I asked her to recall a pure moment of love. Her face softened as she thought of holding her newborn grandchild. Right then, something remarkable happened on the monitor. The chaotic waves transformed into perfectly coherent patterns. "See this?" I whispered. "Your heart is now generating a healing electromagnetic field. Every cell in your body is receiving that signal." Over the following months, Maria practiced this cardiac coherence breathing 3 times daily. It wasn't passive meditation. It was an intentional dialogue with her heart's electromagnetic intelligence, calling forth uplifting emotions while maintaining steady breath. The results defied conventional explanation. Her echocardiograms showed heart tissue regeneration. Inflammation markers dropped significantly. Her vitality returned stronger than ever. Her cardiologist, puzzled by the recovery, suggested the initial damage might have been overstated. But Maria and I knew the truth. She had consciously awakened her heart's own healing power. In my studies, I've documented how cardiac coherence triggers biological shifts. Heart rate variability patterns sync the autonomic nervous system, balance hormones, and improve communication between body systems. But the heart's electromagnetic reach is even more profound, extending up to 8 feet around you. Achieving coherence means not only healing yourself, but radiating a field that can positively affect those nearby. One experiment with couples showed that when one partner entered deep cardiac coherence while touching the other, their heart rhythms synchronized. This was proof that love heals not just in metaphor, but electromagnetically and measurably. I also worked with David, a 38-year-old man crippled by chronic anxiety. His panic attacks cost him his job and kept him in constant fear. His heart rate variability readings revealed deep internal conflict, chaotic heart waves sending constant danger signals, trapping his brain in overdrive. I taught him to become the conductor of his internal symphony. 3 times a day, he practiced cardiac coherence breathing. Not just a technique, but a sacred ritual of reconnecting with his heart's wisdom. As he breathed, he consciously invoked gratitude, compassion, and appreciation. Slowly, his heart rediscovered harmony. Within 6 weeks, his panic attacks vanished. Tests showed shifts in his brain chemistry: lower cortisol and adrenaline, higher serotonin and oxytocin. His nervous system had shifted from survival mode to growth mode. David discovered a secret many don't know. The heart houses its own neural network, with over 40,000 neurons sending more info to the brain than it receives. Activating this heart intelligence naturally calms the brain. Over decades, I've noticed that the healthiest, most creative people have developed a heart-mind coherence, intentionally or not. living in an electromagnetic flow where these two organs synchronize perfectly. In contrast, chronic illness, anxiety, and depression almost always accompany cardiac incoherence, a heart sending distress signals that keep the whole system stressed. The most powerful practice I've developed blends rhythmic breathing with emotional activation. For 5 minutes each morning and night, breathe in for 5 seconds and out for 5, hand on heart. But here's the secret. Don't just think gratitude. Feel it pouring out of your heart like golden light. Don't just recall love. Let it generate a palpable electromagnetic field you can sense. Master this practice, and your heart and mind become a coherent antenna, sending harmony signals that transform your biology. Your immune system strengthens, hormones balance, and your energetic field radiates healing wherever you go. But the greatest gift? You enter a state where healer and healed are one. You become a living field of electromagnetic coherence, a beacon of healing in a world longing for balance. Tonight, place your hand on your heart and feel the miracle beating beneath your palm. That incredible organ doesn't just pump blood, it generates the body's most powerful electromagnetic field. Dance consciously with its wisdom, because your heart has been waiting for you to remember that you are an electromagnetic being meant to radiate coherence and love into the world. Chapter 6. The Vibrational Language of DNA. Your DNA isn't just a chemical blueprint. It's a receiver tuned to the vibrational song of your soul. What I'm about to share will challenge everything you think you know about how cells communicate. For years, science taught us that DNA reacts only to chemical signals, hormones, neurotransmitters, growth factors. That limited view kept us blind to a far deeper truth. There's a more primal, more immediate, and far more powerful language than molecules, the language of vibration. My awakening to this truth came during a groundbreaking experiment in 1998. I was working with a group of Russian biophysicists who had made an astonishing discovery. DNA emits and absorbs coherent light photons, essentially acting like a tiny biological laser. Even more incredible, when exposed to certain sound and light frequencies, specific genes could be switched on or off without a single chemical involved. In that quiet moment, I realized we'd been treating DNA as nothing more than a chemical library. In reality, it's also an incredibly sensitive vibrational antenna, capable of sending and receiving information via electromagnetic waves. Let me tell you about Carmen, a 41-year-old professional violinist diagnosed with a degenerative autoimmune disease. Doctors told her her immune system was attacking her joints and that she'd soon be unable to play. "Dr. Lipton," she said with tears, "music is who I am. Without it, I don't know what I'd be." During our first session, something remarkable happened. I asked her to bring her violin and play a piece that moved her deeply. As the music filled the room, I watched her body respond. Her posture relaxed, her breath slowed, and calm radiated from her. "Carmen," I said softly, "do you realize what just happened? Your entire body, every cell and gene, heard that music." I explained what medicine still resists acknowledging. DNA is exquisitely sensitive to vibrational frequencies. Every thought, every feeling, every sound you experience produces wave patterns that your genetic material interprets as instructions. Autoimmune disorders often arise when DNA receives conflicting, chaotic vibrations, like trying to follow a dissonant symphony. Over the next months, Carmen and I developed a protocol we call genetic frequency therapy. Each morning she played selected pieces chosen for their harmonious frequencies, vibrations aligned with the natural rhythms of cellular repair. But it wasn't passive listening. She consciously directed those vibrations toward her inflamed genes, envisioning musical waves delivering messages of peace and healing straight to her DNA. The results were astonishing. Her inflammation decreased, joint mobility returned, and gene expression tests showed positive shifts in immune-related genes. After a year, not only had Carmen regained her ability to perform, but her musical expression had deepened. She had literally tuned her DNA to harmony, unlocking new creative levels. She discovered what few musicians understand. Every note we play shapes our DNA, tuning it toward coherence or chaos. In my research, I found that different frequencies produce distinct effects on gene activity. Low, discordant frequencies, like chronic stress or loud industrial noise, trigger inflammation and survival genes. In contrast, harmonious vibrations, found in classical music, sacred chants, or nature's sounds, activate repair and growth genes. But the most profound frequency of all is the human voice, charged with genuine emotion. I worked with Roberto, a 55-year-old man battling advanced prostate cancer. Doctors gave him 6 months to live, and his family was preparing to say goodbye. In our first session, I introduced him to healing genetic intonation, a practice where his voice, filled with heartfelt intention, generated frequencies speaking directly to his DNA. 3 times a day, Roberto would sit quietly, hands on his prostate, and chant carefully selected sounds designed to resonate with healthy prostate cells. These weren't random noises. Each frequency matched the natural vibration of his body's cells. As he intoned, Roberto visualized waves of love and healing reaching his cancerous genes. "Cells of my prostate," he would softly sing. "Remember your perfect original design. Let go of chaos and return to harmony." For 6 months, Roberto committed to this sacred vocal practice. His scans began showing remarkable changes. The tumors stabilized, then shrank. Cancer markers plummeted. 2 years later, he was declared cancer-free. His doctors called it a spontaneous remission, but Roberto and I knew better. He had learned to speak DNA's true language, vibration infused with love and intention. Over decades, I've observed that ancient cultures intuitively grasped this wisdom. Sanskrit mantras, Gregorian chants, shamanic drumming, Tibetan bowls, all are vibrational tools designed to communicate directly with DNA, sparking healing and transformation. But the greatest power lies in the voice you create when you blend sound, emotion, and focused intention. When you sing from the heart with authentic love and clarity, sending waves that penetrate deep into your cells. I've witnessed people heal inherited genetic wounds simply by singing lullabies to their DNA. Others unlock creativity and genius by chanting specific frequencies while envisioning their talents blossoming. The ultimate revelation: your voice is the most sophisticated instrument on earth, perfectly tuned to converse with your genetic code. Every heartfelt word you speak is a note in the symphony of your cellular transformation. Tonight, before sleep, place your hands over your heart and softly intone, "Sacred DNA, remember your innate perfection. Activate genes of health, love, and boundless abundance." Don't say it mechanically. Sing it from your soul, feeling each vibration ripple through your being. Watch as your DNA responds to this ancient language, because your genetic code has been waiting to hear the sacred song of your soul, whispering secrets of transformation carried through vibration since the dawn of life. Chapter 7. Reprogramming Biology Through Consciousness. Your consciousness is the ultimate programmer, capable of rewriting your body's entire biological code. For over 30 years, I've held on to one of the most profound secrets of human biology. You have the natural ability to consciously reprogram your biological systems, not through drugs, surgeries, or outside forces, but through the focused power of your own mind. What I'm about to share will redefine what it means to be human. When you learn how to access the brain states that enable biological reprogramming, you step into the role of the architect of your own evolution. My understanding of this truth began with a life-changing observation during an experiment involving comatose patients. Though their bodies seemed unresponsive, their brains exhibited deep theta wave patterns, the same brain state linked to spontaneous healing and mystical experiences. In that moment, I realized these patients weren't unconscious in the usual sense. They were accessing levels of awareness where the mind can communicate directly with the body's healing systems. Let me introduce Anna, a 38-year-old woman diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis. Doctors told her she would gradually lose control of her motor functions and that no cure existed. "Dr. Lipton," she said with fierce determination, "I refuse to accept that fate. I believe there's a power within me to heal." In our first session, I taught Anna about the brain's ability to enter deep theta states, where it can unlock its own repair mechanisms. During these altered states, the subconscious mind becomes highly receptive to new programming. It's like gaining access to the source code of her body's operating system and rewriting faulty instructions. Anna learned a method we call conscious theta reprogramming. Each morning she'd sit comfortably, close her eyes, and use progressive relaxation to guide her brain from waking beta waves into deep theta. But this wasn't passive meditation. In the theta state, Anna actively became the programmer of her own biology. She vividly visualized her neurons regenerating, her myelin repairing, her immune system protecting healthy nerves. "Perfect nervous system," she'd say in theta. "Remember your original design of complete health. Every neuron working in harmony. My body knows how to heal." These weren't simple affirmations. They were direct commands to her subconscious at the brain state where real biological rewriting happens. After 6 months of practice, Anna's MRIs showed halted damage and actual neural regeneration. Her symptoms faded. 2 years later, she was symptom-free. Doctors called it a medical mystery, but Anna and I knew the truth. She had consciously accessed the brain state that allows the mind to guide physical healing. My research uncovered how consciousness rewires biology. When the brain shifts into deep theta, areas like the medial prefrontal cortex and limbic system, connected directly to the autonomic nervous system, activate. These states release healing chemicals, endorphins to ease pain, serotonin to balance mood, and brain-derived neurotrophic factor to stimulate neuron growth. But I found something even more remarkable. When you combine focused visualization with theta, you can consciously target these healing substances to specific organs or tissues. Take Miguel, a 29-year-old athlete sidelined by a severe knee injury. Surgeons said his cartilage was irreparable, ending his career. I taught Miguel a targeted regeneration practice pairing theta brainwaves with detailed visualization. Twice daily, he'd enter deep theta and picture stem cells migrating to his knee, rebuilding cartilage with perfect structure. He repeated clear commands. "Cartilage regenerates now. Stem cells activate. Inflammation dissolves." 4 months later, medical scans revealed what doctors deemed impossible: significant cartilage regrowth. Miguel returned to competition and broke personal records. He discovered that focused consciousness can awaken the body's natural regeneration systems, ones typically active only in early development or emergencies. Over decades, I developed protocols for various biological reprogramming needs. For organ repair, We combine precise anatomical visualization with powerful affirmations in theta. For emotional healing, we rewrite memory patterns, literally reshaping the neuronal codes of trauma. The most effective method blends three elements: conscious access to deep theta, anatomically precise imagery, and emotionally charged verbal commands. Each morning, spend 40 minutes in this sacred practice. Begin with deep breathing and muscle relaxation. Let your mind drift until you enter theta. Then, become the conscious programmer of your biology. If you seek physical healing, vividly picture your cells repairing, tissues rebuilding, systems optimizing. For emotional growth, access limiting memories and rewrite them with empowered new endings. Your theta brain can't tell reality from vivid imagination. You can install new memories that produce chemistry of confidence and strength. Want new abilities? Program detailed visions of yourself fully skilled. Your nervous system will start wiring those capacities. The secret lies in the clarity of your visualization and the authenticity of your emotions. This isn't pretending. It's rewriting your biological reality at the deepest level. Remember, your consciousness isn't a passive passenger. It's the driver with full control over your body systems. Once you master accessing these brain states, you become the active creator of your biological evolution. Tonight, as your brain naturally shifts to theta, recognize your sacred power. You are more than a body with consciousness. You are consciousness guiding a body. Your biology has been waiting for you to remember you are the master programmer of your transformation. Chapter 8. Illness as a Message. When your body whispers for attention. After decades as a cellular biologist, I've uncovered a truth that mainstream medicine often overlooks. Illness isn't your enemy. It's a wise messenger from within, sending coded signals about the conflict between your conscious awareness and your subconscious programming. What I'm about to share will change how you relate to physical suffering forever. When you learn to interpret the symbolic language of symptoms, every illness transforms into a gateway for deeper self-understanding and healing. My own awakening came through a deeply personal journey. At 45, I suffered from a severe ulcer that defied all medical treatments. For months, the pain was relentless, a constant reminder that something in my life was profoundly out of sync. One sleepless night with my stomach burning, I had a breakthrough. My ulcer wasn't just a digestive malfunction. It was a cry from my subconscious about the toxic clash between my academic career and my core values. I wasn't just struggling to digest food. I was grappling with the contradictions of a career demanding I conform to scientific dogmas my intuition knew were incomplete. Let me introduce you to Laura, a 42-year-old executive who came to me after developing severe rheumatoid arthritis in her hands. Doctors prescribed powerful immunosuppressants, but Laura felt there was a deeper story. "Dr. Lipton," she said as she examined her swollen hands, "I built my career with these hands. I create, I design, I build. Why would my own body attack what I need most?" In our first session, we explored the profound symbolism of her condition. The hands represent our ability to shape and direct our reality. Arthritis, where the immune system attacks the joints, revealed an internal battle over her personal power and right to create. As we unpacked her history, a pattern emerged. Laura grew up in a family where creativity and ambition were seen as selfish, even punished. Her subconscious had absorbed the belief that using her hands to prosper was dangerous. Then there's Carlos. I told him, "Your lungs are crying out for freedom. Your asthma is your body's way of saying, I need space to breathe and be myself." We worked together to reprogram his subconscious response to family pressures. He learned tools to maintain emotional breathing room, even in tough situations. Carlos visualized his lungs expanding freely, affirming his right to live authentically. Within 6 months, his asthma attacks dropped dramatically. He regained the ability to visit family without compromising his respiratory health, having resolved the internal conflict driving his condition. The key to unlocking any illness is asking, what emotional conflict might this symptom symbolize? What part of my life is calling out for attention and healing? In my research, I've seen so-called incurable illnesses carry urgent messages about deep emotional wounds. Cancer often surfaces amid unprocessed trauma. Autoimmune diseases arise from inner turmoil between conflicting parts of the self. Here's the most powerful insight. Once you uncover and heal the emotional root, the body often heals itself, because the reason for the illness dissolves. Illness isn't punishment. It's communication. It's feedback, not failure. Every symptom invites you to look deeper. What message do you bring me? What part of my life needs healing? What internal battle is showing up physically? Listen with humility and gratitude. Your body never lies or punishes without reason. It's guiding you toward balance, truth, and wholeness. True healing doesn't come from silencing symptoms, but from honoring and responding to their wisdom. When you embrace illness as a teacher rather than fearing it as an enemy, you unlock healing possibilities medicine often misses. Tonight, if you feel discomfort, place your hand gently on the affected area and ask, what message do you have for me? How can I honor the wisdom you're sharing? Your body has been waiting for you to realize that every symptom is a love letter from your soul, guiding you toward deeper healing and a more authentic life. Back to Laura. At the peak of her career, her immune system attacked the very tools of her success, trying to shield her from consequences her childhood programming feared. Laura, I explained, your arthritis isn't random. It's the physical expression of a civil war between your conscious drive to create and your subconscious fear of being punished for your power. Over months, we healed not just her joints, but the subconscious beliefs fueling the conflict. Laura learned to speak directly to her immune system, honoring her hands as sacred instruments of creation worthy of protection. She developed a daily ritual, placing her hands over her heart, declaring, "My hands are divine blessings. I deserve to create, prosper, and manifest my gifts. My immune system supports my creative power." Gradually, inflammation subsided. Lab tests normalized. More importantly, Laura transformed her relationship with creativity and personal power. 2 years later, she was free of arthritis and had launched her own design firm, creating with hands stronger than ever. In my work, I've mapped how unresolved emotional conflicts manifest physically. The body, wise beyond measure, chooses the organ or system that symbolizes the inner turmoil needing resolution. Heart troubles often relate to issues of love and connection. Digestive problems surface when we can't digest life's challenges. Breathing issues point to feeling trapped or suffocated in life. Carlos, 39, developed severe asthma with no medical relief. His symptoms worsened visiting his controlling family, where he felt emotionally stifled. Though living independently, family visits triggered a deep sense of being emotionally smothered. His asthma physically mirrored the oppression he felt. His respiratory system was echoing the emotional chokehold of his upbringing. Chapter 9. Where Science Meets Spirit. Modern science is finally catching up to what ancient mystics have always known. We are, in essence, biological gods. Throughout my career, I've stood at the crossroads of two worlds that seem to clash: the exacting rigor of Western science and the deep, intuitive wisdom of ancestral spiritual traditions. What I'm about to share reveals the secret that unites these seemingly opposing perspectives. They're not rivals. They are two sides of the same profound truth. For too long, we've been sold a false choice. Pick reason or faith, data or intuition, the material world or the sacred. This divide has kept us fragmented and disconnected from our true power. My own moment of clarity came in 1987 while observing stem cells in my lab. These cells behaved in ways that defied everything I'd learned about molecular biology. They seemed to know where to go and what to become before any chemical signals arrived. In that quiet moment, peering through my microscope, I realized life operates with an intelligence that goes beyond mechanical explanations. There is something about living systems that materialistic science alone can't fully explain. Let me introduce Elena, a 44-year-old quantum physicist wrestling with a profound existential crisis. Her scientific training taught her the universe was a cold, mechanical machine. Yet, her personal experiences suggested otherwise. "Dr. Lipton," she told me through tears, "the deeper I dive into quantum mechanics, the more it points to consciousness as fundamental to reality. But my education says that can't be true." Elena was grappling with a truth many quantum physicists quietly face, but rarely acknowledge openly. Experiments show the observer's consciousness influences reality at the tiniest, subatomic scale. I explained something that transformed her crisis into clarity. Quantum physics doesn't contradict spirituality, it confirms it. The ancient mystics who spoke of unity and interconnectedness were intuitively describing what modern science now calls quantum entanglement. Together, we explored how cutting-edge discoveries confirm age-old spiritual teachings. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle echoes Buddhist ideas that reality is fluid and depends on the observer. Quantum field theory mathematically frames what mystics call the unified field of consciousness. Elena came to see her struggle not as a contradiction to resolve, but as a synthesis to embrace. She became a mystical scientist, equally fluent in complex equations and profound spiritual experiences. In my research, I've documented how modern epigenetics validates ancient wisdom about the mind's power to reshape the body. For millennia, shamans have used visualization, chanting, and altered states to heal what Western medicine deems incurable. What was once dismissed as superstition now carries scientific backing. Meditation changes gene expression, mantras create measurable physiological effects, and visionary states let the mind direct biological processes normally outside conscious control. I worked with Maria, 35, raised with ancestral energetic healing traditions but trained in skeptical academia. She developed severe fibromyalgia, unresponsive to conventional treatment. Secretly, she began practicing the healing arts taught by her grandmother and noticed improvement, but felt torn about abandoning scientific rigor. I shared research showing how traditional energetic practices shift the body's electromagnetic field, influence brainwave patterns, and optimize nervous system function. "Maria," I said, "your grandmother wasn't practicing magic. She was using healing technologies modern science is only beginning to understand." "You're not abandoning science. You're expanding it." Maria learned to blend her ancestral healing with contemporary neuroscience and epigenetics. The results were remarkable. She fully recovered from fibromyalgia and became a pioneer bridging ancient wisdom with modern science. Over the decades, I've observed that the most effective healers are those who unite deep scientific insight with genuine spiritual openness. They don't see objective data and subjective experience as opposing forces, but as parts of the same whole. The greatest revelation? Science and spirit were never meant to be separate. The division was a construct of materialistic thinking that reduced reality to isolated parts and lost sight of the sacred unity beneath. When Einstein showed energy and matter are interchangeable, he echoed the Vedas' ancient teaching. All existence is one energy manifesting in many forms. When Heisenberg revealed that observation alters what's observed, he validated the Buddhist truth that consciousness and reality are inseparable. When molecular biologists discovered genes respond to the environment, they confirmed shamanic wisdom. The mind consciously shapes biological change. The new science isn't destroying spirituality. It's uncovering it everywhere. Every breakthrough brings us closer to recognizing that the universe is inherently conscious, and the divide between observer and observed, scientist and mystic, matter and spirit, is an illusion. You embody this unity. You are the living bridge between rigorous inquiry and transcendent experience. You don't have to choose between reason and intuition, science and spirituality. The next stage of human evolution will be led by mystical scientists like you, fluent both in the lab and the temple, the equation and the prayer, the experiment and the visionary journey. Tonight, as you gaze at the stars, remember, you are both the scientist seeking to understand the cosmos and the mystic experiencing your oneness with it. You are the universe waking up to itself through both scientific discovery and spiritual awakening. And the universe has been waiting for us to realize that the pursuit of truth, whether scientific or spiritual, is a single sacred quest expressing itself in many forms. Chapter 10. The Future of the Quantum Human. We stand at the dawn of a new era, a conscious evolution where our DNA moves in harmony with the rhythm of the soul. What I'm about to share goes beyond everything we've explored so far. Over decades of research, I've witnessed the emergence of a new kind of human, the Homo conscienticus. These are beings who have learned to consciously guide their biological and spiritual evolution. This isn't science fiction. It's the reality unfolding now. Humans fully embracing that their consciousness is the architect of their biology, their genes, and their very experience of reality. My vision of this future was sparked during a profound meditation in 2003. After an intense day in the lab, I slipped into an expanded state of awareness and saw a future humanity awake to its own power. I saw nervous systems working in perfect harmony, where subconscious and conscious minds flow as one. I witnessed people communicating telepathically through synchronized electromagnetic fields. I saw a species that had moved beyond illness by resolving the inner divisions that once caused it. Let me introduce you to Alex, a 28-year-old who embodies this new wave of conscious evolution. Alex didn't come to me with illness. He came because he developed abilities science couldn't explain. He could sense the electromagnetic states of those around him, feeling others' emotions physically, detecting energetic imbalances in specific organs, and creating states of cardiac coherence that naturally synced nervous systems in his presence. "Dr. Lipton," Alex said in our first meeting, "I don't understand what's happening. It's like my nervous system extends beyond my body. I can feel someone's health or illness just by being near them." What Alex experienced wasn't a disorder. It was evolution in action. He had spontaneously accessed the next step of human development, conscious integration of our electromagnetic fields with others and with the universal quantum field. For months, I studied his brainwave patterns. His EEG showed flawless synchronization between the two brain hemispheres. Sustained gamma waves typically seen only in meditators with decades of practice. And even more remarkable, his brain waves synchronized with those of people nearby. Alex had developed what I call an integrated quantum nervous system. A brain transcending the illusion of separation, operating from direct awareness of our fundamental interconnectedness. What's even more exciting is that these abilities aren't unique to Alex. He's developed methods to teach others how to awaken these potentials consciously, guiding them toward this new level of human function. In my research, a clear pattern emerges in people who fully embrace the principles we've discussed: biology of belief, conscious reprogramming, and electromagnetic coherence. Take Sarah, a 35-year-old artist who's practiced cardiac coherence so deeply that her electromagnetic field has grown remarkably powerful. Plants literally flourish faster in her presence. Animals calm instinctively around her. People experience spontaneous healing after spending time with her. Sarah has cultivated what I call an expanded coherence field. Her nervous system constantly radiates frequencies that foster harmony and healing wherever she goes. This isn't something she forced. It's simply who she became. After months observing her, I told Sarah, "You embody what ancient traditions would call an avatar, a person consciously embodying divine frequencies." What's remarkable is that Sarah wasn't born with these gifts. She developed them through years of consistent practice: conscious reprogramming, cardiac coherence, direct dialogue with her DNA, and deep healing of internal conflicts. Over decades, I've seen conscious evolution follow predictable stages. First, awakening to our power to influence biology through consciousness. Second, learning to systematically reprogram limiting beliefs and patterns. Third, cultivating sustained coherence across mind, body, and spirit. And finally, transcending the illusion of separateness to operate as integrated conscious beings in harmony with the universal quantum field. Humanity is now collectively moving from the second to the third stage of conscious evolution. Millions have awakened to their innate power to heal and transform themselves. We're learning how to sustain coherent, balanced states of being that don't rely on outside circumstances. The fourth stage marks the dawn of the quantum human, a being who consciously embodies universal consciousness, creating realities that go beyond what we once thought were fixed limits. I've envisioned future labs where scientists operate in expanded states of awareness, receiving insights directly from the quantum field. I've seen hospitals where healers with integrated quantum nervous systems trigger immediate healing through electromagnetic resonance. I've imagined schools where teachers, radiating expanded coherence, transfer knowledge directly through synchronized brain activity. This isn't some distant future. It's already emerging now in people like you who choose to actively participate in their own evolution. Every time you engage in conscious reprogramming, you contribute to the collective awakening. Each moment of cardiac coherence you create strengthens the morphogenetic field that supports human harmony. Every loving interaction you have with your DNA speeds the genetic awakening of our species. The quantum human isn't a far-off fantasy. It's your present potential waiting to be activated. Your biology is already equipped. A nervous system capable of perfect harmony, a heart that generates powerful electromagnetic fields, DNA that responds instantly to your consciousness, and a brain wired to access expanded states of perception. The only real difference between where you are now and your quantum potential is how consistently you apply these natural abilities. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, realize you're not just a human learning about conscious evolution. You are conscious evolution itself, taking form, slowly awakening to the incredible being you truly are. The future of the quantum human isn't a someday event. It's unfolding right now through those who choose to break free from the limits humanity once accepted as fixed. The universe has been waiting for us to remember that we are biological gods designed to evolve consciously into greater expressions of love, wisdom, and creativity. As I write these closing words, I feel profound gratitude for being a bridge between science and spirit, between the lab and the soul's sanctuary. My scientific journey led me to this undeniable truth. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and our biology is built to respond to the highest impulses of our spirit. Your genes have been waiting to hear that you are worthy of love, deserving of healing, and living a life with sacred purpose. They've been waiting to hear that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a conscious creator of your reality. They've been waiting for you to remember that the power to transform has always been inside you. Now, as this sacred manuscript closes, I offer you the most important invitation you'll ever receive. Start speaking to your body in the language of love. Each morning upon waking, whisper gratitude to your cells. Each night before sleep, send blessings to your DNA. Trust that your body is your most loyal ally on your path of awakening. The future of humanity isn't in distant labs. It's in the sacred laboratory of your own consciousness. That is where the true alchemy happens, where science meets miracle, and the impossible becomes inevitable. May these words echo within the temple of your heart, until you fully remember what your genes have always known. You are a being of infinite light, a conscious creator of your reality, and the master of your own transformation.